So I've been having a lot of fun playing solo D&D. I've been hand drawing all my maps. However, there's moments where it really slows down the gameplay. So when we go into a dungeon and I have to roll for the rooms to find out how big they are, what's in them and all that kind of stuff, and then it leads to a combat, suddenly I have to stop playing the game and draw out this map, and that can take a bit of time, right? It might even be the end of the session for the day where I have to draw and come back the next day and play out this combat. But I want that to flow a little bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to craft some things. I'm going to make some dungeon tiles. There's all kinds of videos online about making dungeon tiles, and I'm going to do the cheapest version of that, where it's just making them out of cardboard and whatever I have lying around the house. So I'm going to make those in this video, show you what I did, how to do it, and hopefully that'll lead to just playing solo D&D a little bit more smoothly, so I don't have to break down and draw maps every time. So here's a video on that. So I'm just using old Amazon boxes for the cardboard and stuff like that. I just cut them into the shapes I need and cut the edges down. I'll glue 2 layers together just to make them a little bit more sturdy and stuff like that when we go to add paint and things to avoid warping. I got my trusty glue gun. I got some old cardboard from around the house that we used to just cut up into the squares and stuff like that for the tiles to go onto the double cardboard, and it'll look a little something like that, the little dungeon tile. 100% out of cardboard and glue, so just stuff lying around the house. We will lay down some glue on the squares just for I like the fast drying that, and I feel like with the hot glue gun it's not going to go anywhere as opposed to the Elmer's glue. I'm sure the Elmer's glue is strong too. I trust the hot glue gun a little bit better. I'll cut some of these tiles to make them look cracked and old. Adds a little bit more personality to each tile instead of having it look like just a perfect little batch. These are supposed to be like old dungeons we're entering, so these cracks add a lot of detail. I like the way they look. It takes a little bit of time and tediousness though to lay them down to make them look cool, but I get happy with the results at the end. And yeah, here's how they end up looking. So this is one of my last tiles I'm working on. Here's another one where it's finished, and that'll add a lot more once we add the paste and everything. So I'm also doing these different shapes and stuff like that. I got these singles and those 3x1s to just give us some options for if we roll different kinds of sizes of rooms, we can kind of do different layouts and not be locked into these 3x3 pieces. Now we can kind of do some more rectangular and square shapes and stuff like that, and look a little something like that. Gives us some options. I'm going to use this spackling. This is normally used for drywall and stuff like that. We used it in our renos. I have a little bit of water that I use as well to dip my finger in. So I have some gloves on. It says on the piece to not get it on your fingers or your skin or your eyes. So got some gloves on for protection. I'll lay down some of the spackle. I'll use some water to dilute it down and just help us get into all these nooks and crannies on the tile here itself. Just kind of rubbing it around, filling as much of the cracks as I can. Then I take some paper towel, rub off the residuals, and then I'll use a little popsicle stick or whatever you have to get the cracks empty of all the excess, just so that when we go to paint and stuff like that, it has some layers and some texture to it, and we can fill in those cracks with some color later on. So once you're happy with the result, I'll take the paper towel once again and I'll just kind of dab it up, and this adds a bit of texture to it, makes it look a little bit more like stone. It's not just one smooth piece of cardboard. So I'm just trying to fluff it up a little bit so that when we go to paint and do dry brushing, it gives it a little more texture. So here's the finished piece, all dried out. You can see it looks a little rough, looks a little bit more like stone, and then that's what we got to work with. So the next piece here is I got my acrylics. I got black acrylic paint that I lay down for a base, and I just paint the whole thing. And this paint isn't anything fancy. It's like dollar store paint, little craft paints. Definitely not breaking the bank with this, but I like the way they turned out anyway. So I lay down a light gray base, but you can see later on I don't like how light this color was, so I actually go a little bit darker. Hi, Dico. It's my dog crying in the background. So then I go with a dark gray instead, and I like the way this looks better. This looks a little bit more like a dark dungeon tile color. And then from here, I decided to add a little bit of extra color per tile. So I do like 2 or 3 per thing. Just giving it a little bit of color underneath to make it stand out or make it a little more unique, so it's not just one uniform color. I did my best. I'm no pro painter by any means. So I used a yellow and I mixed it with a little bit of blue as well to try get a green color. I just picked like 1 or 2 tiles to highlight, and then I'd rub off the excess. I don't want it to like show up too drastically. Just give it a different tone here and there to make the stones look a little more unique. And then I hit it with a black wash. Now this black wash is just water, black acrylic paint, and 1 dab of Dawn dish soap for that oil base to help it run a little bit more so it can fill the nooks and crannies and give it a little more personality. So I don't know the exact proportions of the wash I did. I just kind of go by eye and stuff. So I actually had to hit this with a couple coats and then add a little more black here and there, but it is what it is. And then we hit it with the dry brush. So I made another light gray, and you just kind of put barely any paint on your brush. And I'm talking barely any, less is more. I screwed up a couple by having too much, and then you'll just rub it along the edges and it'll catch all those textures and give it some life and make it look a little more unique, a little more like stone. And this is my first time trying this, so I'm no expert or anything like that, but here's how they turned out. And I'm actually quite pleased, right? Just coming from cardboard and whatever I have lying around the house. So I thought they looked like stone enough for me. And then here we go. Here's kind of the finished pieces of our dungeon tiles that we can use. So the next time we go and plunder a dungeon and we got a roll for room sizes, I have some options. See, I can mix and match here and there, right? If we just have a big old square room, or if we have a smaller rectangular room, I have all these little extra pieces to try to give us some flexibility in what kind of room we're entering based off of the dice rolls. And I'm actually quite proud of how these turned out for, you know, cardboard, acrylic paints, and hot glue gun. It's and the spackle, of course, is probably the most expensive thing. And yeah, that's the finished product. Very proud of it. Can't wait to use them.